What's up, y'all? I'm doing this stream real quick just to ask a few questions and talk to y'all. But I really have one main question, and that is YouTube dead? I think it might be dead, man. I just gotta pray on some stuff, man. What's good, Chucky? I just gotta pray on some stuff, man. I just want to come in and chop it up with y'all. I haven't talked to y'all in a minute. My name is J-LEETHAL. What's good, Bryce? Um, my name is J-LEETHAL. I just came here to talk to you guys for a quick little minute. I was going to go live the other day, but then I said, man, if you don't know who I am, that's perfectly fine. I just actually 3 weeks ago, and I just been kind of laying low, just kind of in my thoughts. Looks like YouTube is letting my people in. So if you come in and you can hear me, go on and put a 7 in the chat. Thank you guys for talking. Yeah, man, I just want to have a quick little conversation with y'all, catch up with y'all. It's been a little minute since the last time I saw you guys. Cha Cha, hey Cha Cha, you're at your second job. Where do you work, Cha Cha? Don't tell us the actual location or the name of the place. I guess you could just tell us what your position is. What do you do on your job, your second job? So I just wanted to have a quick little conversation. Is Friday the new day or still Monday? Monday's always going to be the day, Solo. Unless you guys feel like another day, you know, I'm very able to change. This is something new that I'm trying. I want to be able to change if necessary, but I still like Monday. When I get back on, if it be the will of the Most High, when I get back on and get my shit right, I do want to still do it on Mondays. But if you guys think another day is better, just let me know. I just felt like Monday. I don't know. I just like Mondays. I like Monday nights, but I'm not starting my class back up just right now. We're still on summer vacation. I got to get some things right. I got to get my finances right. I got to get my mind right, and then I could get my studio back in session. And I had my background. I think I could put a background right here. Should I put a background or not? Let me see. Create highlights, lighting, retouch. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think I have a background on this. Anyway, Monday is still the day, but I just real quick about a few things and just some stuff that's been kind of going on in my mind. I haven't really talked to too many people since I've been out. If you don't know, I was in prison. A lot of people say, Jay, what did you go to prison for? Well, that's kind of a tricky question, but I'll tell you my charges. I had a charge of uh, on a child. I had a charge of assault on a family member, and I had a charge of assault on a police officer. So you guys can run with that if you want. Did I do it? I don't know. Does it matter? I don't know. Here's a question. If you have a felony for something, does it matter if you did it or not? That's a question I had to ask myself a million times. Seventh house, what up? Says get on TikTok. This is something, okay, so let's just get straight into the conversation since you guys are here finally. Um, I want to ask you guys a question. Is YouTube dead? I don't. Here's the thing. So I was in, and I'm gonna read you guys' comments. So please comment. I was in prison for 2 years. Again, did I do the things that I was charged with? I don't even know how to answer that. I'll tell you this, because a lot of people have been saying, Jay, why are you in prison? Did you do this? Did you do this? I heard one or two people might have even made a video about me on the internet and said this and that. I did this and that. I'll tell you one thing. I did this. I hit my son. And I told you guys that before. I've never hid that information from you guys. Raise your hand if you remember me telling you I hit my son and I was on the run from the police for multiple years. I was sleeping in bandos, sleeping in empty apartments. I was literally made a whole thing called Runaways. Remember that. So I hit my son, and you're gonna ask me why, how hard, all these different questions. I hit my son. Just know that I hit him, and do I regret it? Here's another question: do I regret it? I have so many things in my mind I could say, and I don't know if I should say them all or what I should say, what I shouldn't say. So I'm gonna just go with the spirit on this one. Um, I went to prison. My main charge was, or my first charge was for spanking my son. Now, I call it spanking, but what I've come to the conclusion of, or the realization is, not everybody calls it spanking. Some people just say, you hit him, you shouldn't have hit him like that, you shouldn't have hit him at all. And the court, they just, I assaulted my son. So, and then I went on the run from the police, and that didn't make it any better. And by the way, if you guys can hear me, and if I'm clear, and because it looks like I'm kind of choppy, I don't know. If I'm clear, please put a 7 in the chat. I ran away from my charges. I was being charged with something I didn't feel like I should be charged with. I felt like I had the right and the authority to hit my son. And so I didn't want to deal with the police. As simple as that. I didn't want to deal with the police. I didn't want to answer to a judge that doesn't know or probably doesn't even care about my relationship with my son. I felt, and so I ran away from the police for multiple years. Then I got caught. And I'm going to give you a quick little story. Do you guys see this thing right here? This little bump right here? It's going to be there forever unless I find a way to go to the doctor and get it taken off. I'm going to tell you something real quick. I'm just going to talk today because I haven't talked to you guys in a long time. This bump right here has been bothering me. I got this bump when I got arrested right before I went to prison. This big fat black cop arrested me, and it took, like, I'm not even joking with you, it took about 5 officers to arrest me. And I'll talk about that in a little bit too. But this time, one time before I finally got arrested, they arrested to me. Yeah, Bryce, Freestyle Friday. I like that. I like that. We're gonna call this stream Freestyle Friday. I like that. There we go, Bryce. See, that's why I like y'all. Cause y'all all, that's why I fuck with y'all. There you go. Freestyle Friday. Okay, good. Now I can relax. Hold on. You see this bump right here? Now, I'm not the most handsome dude, but I value my face, right? I got arrested from this cop, this fat ass cop who, it's a long story and I don't even want to get into it, but I got arrested. It took about 4 officers to actually take me down to the ground. When they took me down to the ground, they slammed me down. And every single time I've ever been arrested, I always get like bloody and all that because I'm not trying to go. So I always fight back every time I get arrested. This one time I got arrested, this officer threw me to the ground, or a number of officers. Then he got on top of my neck and he almost suffocated me. And I scratched my face on the ground. I didn't think nothing of it. But I have what's called keloidable skin. I got it from my mom. It's hereditary. You can look it up. It's a certain type of skin that predominantly black people have. When your skin makes a keloid, it means, and you can look this up, and I had to look it up. It's usually hereditary. I got it from my mom. My mom has the same thing. A keloid is when you get a scratch, right? Like I was working somewhere today. Like if you get a deep enough scratch, let me see. Can y'all see that? Like if you get a deep enough scratch, usually when you get a scratch, your skin tries to repair itself. So that's what's called a scab or a scar. It usually just makes a scar. But when you have a certain type of skin, your skin keeps on producing skin thinking that it's trying to heal itself. It keeps on trying to heal itself, and it heals itself too much. Instead of just making a regular scar, it builds extra scar tissue on top of that. So that's called a keloid. So I have that type of skin. If ever I get cut too deeply, it makes like a bump. So when he arrested me and threw me down on the ground, I had got cut here, and then it slowly this built a little bump right here. And I'm still very much self-aware of this thing. I don't like this damn police, man. I can probably get it removed if I get some health insurance or some shit, but I just felt like talking about that. Anyway, I was in prison for 2 years. My main charge was for hitting my son. Now, I have a things I could talk about with that, but I'll say this. The conclusion that I came to is it wasn't necessary for me to hit my son. At the time, I felt like it was necessary, but upon further reflection and being in prison and being sober-minded, I came to the conclusion that there are multiple routes to a particular destination. Can somebody put that in the chat real quick? And thank you guys for joining me. I know it's Friday. You guys could be anywhere in the world. I just want to talk to you guys real quick and just ask a few questions. One of the things I learned in prison is, or while I was in prison, I didn't necessarily learn this in prison, but I learned it while doing my time. There are multiple routes to a particular destination. So let me give you an example. Like, let's just say you want to go to, I don't know, the supermarket in your city. Let's say you go to Walmart. Let's call it Walmart, right? Everybody knows Walmart. Let's say there's a Walmart about 5 miles from your house. 5 miles, not a big deal. And let's just say usually you take this one particular road to get to Walmart. Every time, no matter what, you're just used to getting in your car or your bike, or you walk, or you bus, or Uber. You always, well, probably not Uber, but let's just say you're in the driver's seat and you take this one particular street to get to Walmart every single time, right? Without fail, whenever you go to Walmart, this is how you get to Walmart. This is how you get to Walmart. Okay, now let's just say one day you need to go to Walmart and that street has construction going on that street. And you can't not go down that street. You cannot drive down that street. What are you going to do? Let me ask you guys in the chat. If you need to go to Walmart and you usually go down this main road, but the main road is blocked because there's construction going on, but you have to get to Walmart, what are you going to do? And this is going into my first stream of consciousness because this is something that was very important that I learned when I was in prison. Infinite Charms. And Infinite Charms, you don't mind if I still call you that, right? Because I know you have Danny Mac as your name now, but I always call my people the original name. Jay, Danny Mac, Infinite Charms, Bryce. They say you got to find a new route. You have to find another way. You do a detour. Exactly. Now, this is something that seems so easy, but for some reason, I never thought of that when it comes to the way I react or respond to stimuli in my life. And here's another thing, because somebody put this in the chat. Here's the next point, because today's Freestyle Friday, so I'm just coming off the head with this. The second point is there's a difference, a very real difference between reacting and responding. Okay? There's a difference between reacting to something and responding to something. And what I suggest and what I'm trying to implement in my life is I want to respond instead of react. A reaction, in my opinion, is something that you do just impulsively, something that you don't put any thought into. One thing happens and you do that. A reaction. A response is something that connotates a thought, or you have a conscientious decision behind this response. Okay? Now, here's the third point. Sometimes the best response is no response. I'm gonna move fast, so please put some of this stuff in the chat. Whatever sticks with you, just let me know. Sometimes the best response is no response. So let me get back to Walmart, right? The way I used to think was this. If this happens, I'm going to react this way. Regardless. I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a damn. This is what it is. This is what I've come to. This is who I am. I'm a man. I'm a black man. I'm this. I'm that. I'm that. I'm a child of God. I'm this. I'm going to react this way. And I had such tunnel vision that I don't care what you're talking about. I've already made my decision. This is how I'm going to react. And what I've understood in prison, when I finally got to prison, was how good did that do me? Did it really do me good? Did it do me any good to have my tunnel vision and to stick to my script and not be able to change at all? How good did it do me when I... And we're gonna talk about it because I got a lot of stuff to talk about with prison. I'm not even ready yet to go into all the things that I've dealt with in prison. But you know, here's one thing. Because it's Freestyle Friday, so I'm gonna just go with my thoughts on this. One thing they do in prison, Infinite Charms, is squat and cough. Can somebody put that in the chat? Squat and cough. Does anybody want to guess? Raise your hand. Does anybody want to raise your hand and guess what it means to fucking squat and cough in prison? By the way, there's 10 people in here, but there's only 5 likes. So I'm going to need you guys to press the like button when you come in, please. What does it mean to squat and cough? I wish I could put y'all's comments on the screen like I do on StreamYard, but I'm just on YouTube. I'm not on StreamYard, so. Squat and cough. Yes, Solo Dolo. The good old cavity search. Now, I have a whole conversation about this. When I first got to jail, they do this thing called, I call it squat and cough. Why? Because you get stripped butt naked. You got to take off all your clothes. And this is part of my humbling experience. I'm still who I am a lot more humble because when you're in prison and you don't have anything, nothing of yours. They had to take this chain off of me. They took my watch. Matter of fact, let me get my watch real quick. Hold on. They took my chain. They took my watch. They took my cell phone. They took my clothes. I don't even have my clothes, my underwear. I had to wear state underwear that somebody else or a bunch of people wore this underwear, right? Then you go into a room and somebody tells you, all right, now squat and cough. Yeah, that's right. That means, nigga, I don't give a damn how gangster you are, what gang you're in, what spiritual affiliation, what race, how tough you are. You better squat down and not squat, but then you got to grab your nuts. Squat down, grab your nuts, lift them up, solo dolo, lift them up, and then cough. What? You should have seen my face the first time they told me that. I said, excuse me, sir? Sir, this is 2024, 25, 26. We can be a lot more civil than that, I'm sure. What did you just say to me? You said, nigga, you heard me. Bend down, squat, lift your nuts up. Let me see under there. And then cough. I don't know which one's more violating. Stripping me naked, bending down, grabbing my nuts, lifting them up, squatting, or coughing. Or here's the kicker. Sometimes they'll even tell you to spread your butt cheeks. Now, again, don't expect me to come on here every time and tell you a prison story because I'm still dealing with a lot of trauma myself. So I still have to deal with this and process everything that went on. But some of you might say, oh, you a bitch ass nigga. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't let nobody make me squat and cough. Yeah, okay. Here's the harsh reality. When you're in prison, you got to deal with a lot of harsh realities. Here's the harsh reality of being in prison. When the officer tells you to squat and cough and open your butt cheeks, you have two choices. Somebody put that in the chat. You have two choices when they tell you to open your butt cheeks and lift your nutsack. You can either do it yourself. You can either do it yourself or the officer or a group of officers will do it for you. Now you tell me which one you're going to do. I want to read some. See, I wish they gave you the old school names of these people because I have all y'all's usernames, but I don't have your real names that I used to call you. The Brainy Ledom. What was your name that I used to call you, or what was your old school YouTube name? What up, Buckshot? Buckshot, you still on Instagram or what? Buckshot, don't worry about it. It's Freestyle Friday. I'm just talking about my time in prison and just different stuff, you know. Well, right now I'm talking about how they used to make you bend down, squat, and cough. And here's the harsh reality. You're either going to spread your own butt cheeks or the officer or the group of officers are going to spray you with mace in the face, butt naked, hold you down, and open your butt cheeks for you. And I've been through a lot. I just don't want to have to do that. So anyway, I don't even know why I went down that road, but let's back it up a little. Walmart, right? You need to get to Walmart and you're used to taking one particular road. Every day when you need to go to Walmart, you take this street and that's it. But one day you wake up and you realize that street has construction on it and you can't drive down that street. So the only option, actually, you have two options. Actually, you have three options. Here's the three options you have if there's construction on the road on your way to Walmart. One, you can stay home. You can just not go to Walmart. Two, you can take another route, which is the one that we're going to talk about. Or three, you can try to drive down the construction road. You can just bust through all the cones and you can bust through the warning signs and you can see what happens and maybe you might make it. But I don't think that's a smart thing personally. And if you need to go to Walmart, you don't want to stay home. You're not going to stay home. So the only viable option, the only reasonable option is to take another route. So this is something that I had to, and somebody had to tell this to me and really get me to understand it, was that there are multiple routes to a particular destination. Infinite Charms, please put that in the chat one more time. There are multiple routes to a particular destination. That means if I want to go here, I don't have to stick to this one route. There are multiple routes. And actually, here's the funny thing about that. Maybe when you try a different route, okay, well, I can't go down this road because there's construction going on right here. There's an accident right here. Let me try this back road. Let me try this alternate route. The funny thing you might realize when you try a different route is that this other route might be better. What do I mean by better? In the example of Walmart, if you try a different route, maybe you might find out you get there quicker. It might be a shortcut. You might find it's more peaceful. This might not be a very known route. You might be able to cut through a neighborhood that's quiet. You might be able to sightsee. It might be a better road, better on your tires. You might find somebody that is able to help you or needs some help on the way there. There's a million different things that can happen by trying a different route. And here's the best part. You're still going to get to your destination. So what I want you to understand from that, as far as it relates to how we react or respond, and remember, there's a big difference between reacting to something and responding. I want us to respond, which means we have a conscientious effort when it comes time to dealing with something versus just instantaneously react without thinking about it. The best thing about it is this. When you respond to something and you take an alternate route because this route isn't working, you might actually still be able to get to your destination or get what you want and have less of a hard time. And this is something that I realized when I was in prison, and I hope that it helps me in my future. I hope that it helps you. And if I would have thought about this before I went to prison, maybe I might not have gone to prison. But here's another thing. Here's my next stream of consciousness. Everything that happens not only is supposed to happen in your story, but everything happens for God's ultimate glory. Can somebody put that in the chat? Ultimately, everything happens for God's glory, and it's all part of his plan. Here's another stream of consciousness. Nothing happens without God's permission. Can somebody put that in the chat? Because that's a big one. That's another one that I learned. I have a lot of stuff that I want to talk to you about, and I want to talk to you later about them. But here's another one. Nothing happens without God's permission. This is what we need to understand, and myself included, because especially when I was locked up, there's so many times that I was like, oh, the devil this, the devil wants me dead, the devil's trying. Oh, Mystic Mars. What up, Mystic Mars? I'm going to read some comments in a minute. Let me see. I guess you guys are just listening to me at the end of the day. That's cool. In prison, I was saying to myself a lot, you know, the devil did this. The devil's trying to kill me. The devil wants me silenced. The devil's trying to harm me. The devil's trying to attack me. Which can very well be true. But here's another truth. The ultimate truth is that regardless of what the devil does or doesn't do in your life, the Most High God is in control. And the Most High God is not going to allow anything in your life, good or bad, whatever you want to call it. The Most High God is aware of everything that goes on in this world. And there is nothing that happens that does not happen without God's permission. And here's a better way to put it. God is not surprised by anything. Do you understand that? Do we understand that God is not surprised by anything? So I don't want to preach to y'all today. I actually just came to chop it up and talk to y'all. But let's get back to my very first question, because that's really what I wanted to talk to you about, the internet. When I was in jail, I had a tablet. They give you a tablet now when you're in jail. And Bryce, I don't think they had tablets when you were out. I mean, when you got locked up. But if they did, let me know. From what I'm told, this is somewhat of a recent thing, like 2018, 2019, at least in Texas. I don't know how they do in the rest of the country, but in Texas, they give you a little tablet when you go to prison now. And it has music. You can buy music. You can buy certain movies. And you can listen to certain podcasts, but you can't choose the podcast you listen to. They have a certain kinds of podcasts. What else? You can play certain games like phone games, but you can't get on YouTube. You can't get on Google. You can't really do it like that. So just take that as you will. So I was pretty much separated from the mainstream as far as how I look at, because you guys know I used to call myself the receipt king. I used to be on all the platforms and I was finding receipts. I wasn't able to look up a lot of stuff. I had to have somebody tell me, oh, what's going on? Oh, Young Thug just got out of jail. Oh, this happened, P. Diddy. And then we had TV, so we were able to see some news. But who watches the news anymore? The news is so old and outdated that nobody watches that shit no more. So I've kind of been out of the loop for some years. And one of the things I missed out on was the AI revolution. I remember I was telling you guys a lot about AI before I got locked up, but since I came out, this AI shit is crazy, bro. We'll talk about that again later. But again, I'm going to ask you guys the main question. Is YouTube dead? Because, like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about streaming anymore. Here's my stream of consciousness real quick. And I just want to just run it by you guys because again, I've been locked up for a little minute, so I don't even know. But when I started my channel, it was in 2015. In 2015, being a YouTuber was somewhat of a niche career. A lot of you might not remember, but in 2015, 2016 and stuff like that, not everybody was a streamer. Now they have this thing called streamers. Oh, he's a streamer. He's streaming on Twitch. He's streaming on TikTok. You got Blueface, Kai Sanat, and all these other dudes. They're streaming, and shout out to them. I mean, who am I to say what's important and what's not important to talk about on the internet? But I remember when I was doing my YouTube thing in 2015, 2016, when I first started, I remember saying, like, why aren't more people streaming? You know what I mean? Like, I would be talking about racism, politics, spirituality, pop culture events, all the things I was talking about, and I was just going in on my streams and da 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 da, and I was talking about Donald Trump, I was talking about this and that, I was talking about the gay agenda, I was talking about the Illuminati, and I was like, why aren't more people talking? Like, everybody has a phone. Why aren't more people YouTubing and streaming? And then now fast forward to 2026, about 10 years later, everybody's streaming. Well, not everybody, literally. I mean, some of y'all still don't like to be seen and stuff like that, which I understand. But you guys know what I mean. For the most part, it seems like any and everybody is streaming, live streaming. And then when I start looking at it, the people who have the most popular videos and they have 100 million subscribers and stuff, again, I'm trying not to come off as too judgmental or dismissive anymore, because I noticed that was another thing that I thought about when I was in jail. I was like, you know what, I don't want to come off as judgmental or dismissive. I want to try to show people grace. I want to lead with love. You know what I'm saying? I want to give even the people who I don't like or disagree with. I want to still love them. I want to show love and give them a space to possibly heal or do better. So you might notice that difference with me. Hopefully, when I start my channel back up, I don't want to be like talking shit about people as much as I used to. Because, I used to go in. Tia, I just saw Solo Dolo. I just saw a video with Tia from Tia and Tamara. Tia, somebody put that in the chat. Tia's still out here being a hoe. But guess what? She has the right to do that. This is the thing. This is my new thing. You have the right to be a hoe. You have the right to be a racist. You have the right to be a bitch ass nigga. You have the right to be a liar. You have the right to be whatever you want to be. And that's fine with me, because everybody has their own journey. And guess what? I'm a felon. Who am I to say anything? Who am I to call somebody else out their name? So I'm trying to figure out that myself. But like, for instance, you have this dude, Kai Cenat, right? And we talked about him briefly on my channel before. And we were talking about, is he a black American? I don't think he is, right? Because somebody talked to me in the chat, Kai Cenat. I think he's like Haitian or Caribbean or something. But we were talking about him, and is he selling his soul and da-da-da. This dude named Kai Cenat, he's, from what I gather, one of the biggest streamers. And remember, a streamer now is just somebody who turns on a camera, whether it's low budget, high budget, multi-million-dollar, or you're using McDonald's Wi-Fi. A streamer is somebody who gets on camera and talks. And now everybody has a streaming, everybody is podcasting. You got Jim Jones. Who else I've seen? Name some of the podcasts. Go ahead, put them in the chat. You were talking about last time this dude, what's his name? Corey Holcomb, and what's the other dude's name? Anton Daniels or whatever. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna pour a little water real quick. Hold on. Anton Daniels, and name some of, how about this? Because remember, today's Freestyle Friday. The main question is YouTube dead? And is streaming dead? That's the better part. But we're Freestyle Friday, so go ahead and name your top 3 podcasts that you've been watching for 2 years since J-LEETHAL's been away. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I was that nigga before I got locked up. And I only say that because I put a lot of time and effort into what I was doing. I look back on some of my channel when I got out. I was putting a lot of time and work. To say that I was on the run and I was homeless, I was putting a lot of work in. So tell me your top 3 podcasts or whatever the streamers that you've been watching to keep you informed or whatever the hell whatever why you watch podcasts. Bryce Hall says the Saint and the Sinner. I'm subscribed to him. I actually watch him. Yeah, I've seen him. The Saint and the Sinner. What's his name? Marquette, huh? Yeah, he seems like a decent dude. He seems like he has his head on straight. He's very particular and very well put together and articulate, and he seems like a good businessman. I was subscribed to him before I even got locked up. I actually called into his show one time, and he gave me some respect. So shout out to him, the Saint and the Sinner. Let's see who else y'all's listening to, because this is another question that I had. It's like, again, I don't want to be too judgmental, but when I hear about some of the people that have 100 million subscribers, oh yeah, and then I'm like, well, what are they talking about? Oh, he went to Japan and he's just walking around, and or he's just he had Ice Spice on his podcast, and him and Ice Spice were flirting. Or I'm just like, that's it? Y'all niggas ain't talking about politics for real? You're not talking about spirituality for real? Y'all not really talking about breaking down like the Illuminati for real, like real, like race relations for real? And again, then I had to realize I'm not the controller of the world. Who's to say that what I want to talk about or what I feel is important is really important? So again, going back to my question, is YouTube dead? Is streaming dead? Now let me define dead. Meaning whenever, and I'm gonna say this. If you're in a room, right? Let me see if anybody's named any other podcasts. Hold on. Jay, if you're in a room and 25 other people are in the room and all of them are talking or screaming at the top of their lungs, and you have something important to say, how are you going to feel when 25 other people are in the room just screaming? Some of them screaming about a grilled cheese sandwich. Some of them are screaming about the weather. Some of them are screaming about their head hurts. But you feel like you have something important to say. Now, how about if 100 people in the room are screaming and you feel like you have something important that needs to be heard, but 100 other people are just screaming about different things? What about 1,000? What about 100,000? What about 1,000,000? This is how I'm feeling right now as a person who's been on YouTube or a streamer or whatever you want to call it for at least 10 years. I'm starting to feel like, damn, everybody has something to say. And it's like, how do I differentiate myself? How do I even be heard? And on top of that, we already know YouTube's hiding me. YouTube, I wave my white flag, YouTube. YouTube, remember YouTube, I wave my white flag. I already went to prison. I'm a different person. I'm a changed person. So please leave me alone, YouTube. But we already know YouTube is not going to let me get even 50,000, much less 100,000, much less 1,000,000 subscribers. And then when I start looking at the people who have 1,000,000 subscribers, I'm like, damn. But let's just keep it a buck. We know, you and I know, that the people who have millions of subscribers, it is what it is. They're safe. And it's not hating, because again, it is what it is. I want Kai Cenat. When I was in prison, I saw Kai Cenat on T-Mobile commercial. Kai Cenat was on a McDonald's commercial. Kai Cenat was on what was it? State Farm, not State Farm. What was the insurance commercial that Kai Cenat was on? I want to say it was State Farm. It was one of those insurance commercials. Kai Cenat's getting a bag. And hey, any black man getting a bag, shout out to him. But then I said, okay, I asked somebody on the phone, hey, what does Kai Cenat talk about? Oh, well, he does reaction videos. He reacts to a song or a music video. And I'm like, and I don't want to be a hater. So I'm like, shout out to him, man. I'm just trying to figure out. And I'm going to read some comments. Please tell me in the chat who you listen to on podcasts. Who have you been listening to for the past 2 years while J-Lethal's been locked up? Who talks about religion, spirituality, politics, race relations, breaking down the Illuminati, just real shit, and is not bought out? Because here's another thing. I was on social media recently, and I've been hearing that the same dude, Kai Cenat, all his fans are turning against him because they feel like he's selling out. He sold his soul to whoever. And I haven't looked into him. I don't know 100% why his fans are saying that. But his fans are saying that he doesn't act the same. He doesn't react the same. He doesn't talk about the same stuff. He seems like somebody gave him a script. So I want to read the comments and see who you got talking about. Drewski is also another one. Yes, Drewski's on a bunch of commercials. Now, Drewski, see, Drewski is a comedian, right? So I'll allow it. All right, bro, you're a comedian. You never tried to be a super serious dude anyway. So it is what it is, right? Hold on. Drewski never tried to be a super serious dude. He's getting famous. And here's another thing that you guys got to realize. The internet is the new TV. Can somebody put that in the chat? The internet is the new TV. That means this. The same people, Tom Cruise and Will Smith and whoever else that you used to look up to on TV, and they were a movie star and a celebrity, that attention is now gone to the internet and streamers. This is why you see people like Kevin Hart and whoever else, Kim Kardashian, they want to get on Kai Cenat's stream. They want to go on with Drewski, and they want to, because the attention is now on the internet. Nobody sits at home and turns on the TV and waits till 8 o'clock to watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Everybody is what's called a fractured, what do they call it? A fractured culture, something they call it nowadays, basically where you have your own phone. Nobody has the same experience anymore. In the 90s, 80s, 70s, we all used to watch the same TV. We all used to listen to the same radio. You read the same newspaper. We're basically on the same page. In 2026, you have your own phone. You can make your own playlist. You can make your own, you're watching your own shows. Nobody's telling you what you need to watch. You have so many choices. So I don't want to shit on any of these streamers, but I just want to read who's even out there talking. Like, matter of fact, let me read again. Jay says that Drewski is Step and Fetch It. Oh, Tariq. Bryce says Tariq Nasheed. I fuck with Tariq. You already know I fuck with Tariq. I do like Tariq Nasheed. Tariq is very, very intelligent, very, very funny. So I do fuck with Tariq. I definitely listen to Tariq. How do I feel about Tariq Nasheed? I fuck with him a lot. I fuck with him. But you know what? I'm just freestyling right now. The thought that comes into my head when I listen to a lot of Tariq's videos recently is kind of like, and again, this is not hating. This is just telling you how I feel. The way I feel about Tariq right now is kind of like, I got out 2 years later and he's still talking about the same thing. Does anybody else feel like that, or am I tripping? I got out 2 full years later, and I like it because I still listen to it. It's funny when he's talking about the tethers and all this stuff like that. But I don't even know what I want him to talk about instead. But I'm just like, all right, we've made our point. I feel like we've made our point. But it is important what he is talking about. Don't get me wrong. Because I just saw a video the other day of this African woman or something saying, I hate black Americans and I want them to die and all this. And I was like, wow. It seems like that talk is ramping up really. I've been gone for like 2 years, but the black Americans versus non-black American talk has seems like it's been ramping up a lot lately. And then you got these ICE protests, you got the Bad Bunny concert, all this type of stuff. But even then, like I said, there's a million people talking about it. So it's like, do I even want to cover that? Like, going back to my conversation at the beginning, is YouTube dead? If everybody's talking about something, is it even worth talking about? Like, okay, Bad Bunny performed at the Super Bowl. See, these are the type of dudes that have a million views. Let me talk about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. Man, Bad Bunny was at the Super Bowl and he was speaking Spanish and we don't even understand Spanish. Man, fuck that. I don't want to hear Spanish. It's like, oh, wow, that's very original. Such an original take. I don't know. I just never been the type of nigga that likes to talk about or do what everybody's doing. So now that I'm sitting back, I'm just looking at everybody got a podcast. Everybody got something to say. I damn near want to be quiet. That's the crazy part about it. Now that everybody's talking, I kind of just want to be quiet, y'all. What do y'all think about that? Like, am I tripping? How do I... And I'm going to give you another thought because today's Freestyle Friday. Shout out to Bryce. I used to rap, right? And I think I can rap pretty good. I haven't wrote down a rap in a long time. I wrote a good rap in jail, but then I went to prison and they make you throw away all your stuff when you go to prison. You can't have any belongings, just one Bible. But I wrote this one good rap when I was in jail before I went to prison. It was really good, but they made me throw it away. And I was like, fuck it. I tried again when I was in I just don't, what am I gonna rap about? I can talk about some shit, but I'd rather just talk to you. Oh, speaking of rap, I did hear this rapper NLE Choppa. I don't know if you guys know who that is. I always thought he was a joke. This dude NLE Choppa, but he came out with a few songs recently. Dude was spitting, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Solo Dolo, you ever heard of NLE Choppa? Go listen to the song. Now the video, I don't know what he's doing in the video. He's doing his weird dances and stuff, but NLE Choppa, I guess he's beefing with NBA Youngboy, and he has some disses. He had like two particular songs. He had one called KO and another one called Demons or something. Nigga was spitting, old school spitting, 1996 spitting, for real. I'm not even joking. But I'm like, I don't feel like rapping anymore. I got too much to say anyway. I don't feel like rhyming this word with that word. I'd rather just talk to you guys. But let me read some more. Let me see. Oh, Solo Dolo, you saw those cowboy that cowboy nigga said. I'm like, oh, you got it, bro. But hey, Solo Dolo, he was spitting on that song though. When he went against NBA Youngboy, it's called KO. And the video was, I mean, I liked it. You know why I like that diss? Just because today's Freestyle Friday. If anybody's ever heard that song, I don't even know if you even know who this is. NLE Choppa, and he's beefing with NBA Youngboy. You guys know I like Youngboy, but he's beefing with him. The reason why I like that diss, the first reason, he said his name. I'm a 90s baby. 90s, 80s babies, hip hop heads. It's not a diss. Can somebody Solo put this in the chat? It's not a diss if you don't say his name. And here's another thing. I missed the entire Drake Kendrick beef. I was in jail for the entire beef. I don't even know what happened. Can you believe that? This is how separate I was from the world. I was in prison. I went to jail in the beginning of February. 2024. I got out in January of 2026. I missed the entire Drake Kendrick beef. I still gotta look it up. The only thing I heard was They Not Like Us. That's it. And that first song with Kendrick and Future and Metro Boomin, when it was just bubbling up. I missed all of it. I saw the halftime performance, but anyway, I like the NLE Choppa diss mainly because he said Young Boy's name. It's not a diss if you don't say their name. If you're gonna go out of your way to diss somebody, say their name. So I fuck with that diss. He was spitting solo. I'm a hip hop nigga. NLE was spitting, bro. And he had passion. Now that cowboy shit he was doing, first of all, nigga, if you gonna diss me, don't have your belly out. Why am I looking at your belly button and you're dissing me? You're supposed to be angry at me, but you got oil on your chest and you're dancing like Shakira. Come on, bro. But yeah, I think the song was called Demons. It was another one. He was in the, go to NLE Chopper's channel and go watch his most recent videos. He was bald and he had like a snake in his hand. He was in the studio. The nigga was spitting, bro. I don't give a damn. I was like, because I thought this dude was a joke, right? Like every time I seen NLE Chopper, I'm like, this dude is corny, bro. But this nigga, since he shaved his head, and I just watched this like last night, I think it was. I'm like, let me watch this. This nigga was spitting, bro. For real. Let me read some comments real quick, because I just went off on a tangent. You know it's Freestyle Friday. I'm talking about rap, but really I'm talking about YouTube. Who's y'all's favorite YouTubers? Tell me some more in the chat. Rap is always going to be powerful, Bryce. Rap will never die. Rap has been around before hip hop. Rap is us. We're rapping right now. I'm just not rhyming. I'm rapping with y'all right now. Rap is spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Rap will never die. Hold on. Tariq's doing his thing. Bryce says if I cover some hot topics, it'll boost me in the algorithm. Here's the thing. Maybe, but I think YouTube already know the algorithm is so powerful, and it's probably even more powerful now. If I speak how I speak, and YouTube already knows me, so YouTube is not going to allow me, no matter if I talk about Bad Bunny. By the way, go watch the video from Bad Bunny called, can somebody look this up? It's called, damn, what is that video called? Perreo. Somebody type this in on YouTube real quick. Bad Bunny dressed as a woman. And there's a video, it's called Yo Perreo something. Anyway, Bad Bunny dressed like a straight up woman. And a lot of people were talking about him wearing a dress one time on the red carpet. No. Fuck all that. The way I got introduced to Bad Bunny was 4 or 5 years ago. Bad Bunny had tits, a wig, a fucking red dress on, and he was chained up with some demon looking people having him on a leash. Go look at that video. Somebody tell me the name of that video. It's called Yo Perreo something. Just type in YouTube Bad Bunny dressed as a woman, and then like one of the first videos, it's like, I forgot the name of this. I know I don't speak Spanish, but if I talk about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, I'm still not gonna get 100,000 views, Bryce, and you know that. There's nothing I can talk about on this channel, and this is something that was used to kill me. Now I'm not worried about it. It is what it is. Yes, I'm gonna get on TikTok. Yes, I'm going to eventually get on Twitch, and I'm going to try it out. But there's nothing I can talk about on YouTube that's going to give me even 100,000, even on accident. The most I ever got was 50,000, and that was on my original channel. before YouTube really knew what type of timing I was on. You got to understand, YouTube knows I'm not going to say, they already listened to me. They've already seen me. They know my story. They know I'm not going to sell out. And I'm not saying this to say I'm some super important guy, but they know that's just not in my spirit to sell out. So why would they allow me to get my own clout? Why would they allow me to have 100,000, 500,000 subscribers that would be cash apping me? I can make merchandise, I can make shirts, and 500,000 people are gonna buy my shit. You think they're gonna let me really? Come on. And that's not even a conspiracy theory. That's just basic truth. Let's read some more. I'm still trying to find out who you guys have been listening to. Jay, who do you listen to when J-Lethal's gone? Desi Banks, I've heard of him. What about him? I've heard of him. Yeah, back in the day, it used to be a monoculture. Now it's like a fractured culture or something they call it. To where, in 1995, we all saw the Chucky movie. We all listened to Janet Jackson's song, or we all saw that. In 2026, the nigga next to you, he might not even have heard none of the songs. He might have a whole different playlist than you. I'm gonna read some comments. Hold on. Machiavelli Mills, I never heard of him. Is he good? Machiavelli Mills. What is he on? What does he be talking about? Is he on YouTube? I'm gonna look him up. Machiavelli Mills. Ant CEO. Who is Ant CEO? Who is that? What does he talk about? Taurine Rain. Taurine Rain was one of the very first people that fuck with me. Ask Taurine Rain about J-Lethal. Taurine Rain knows me by name. He knows J-Lethal. Taurine Rain, if you go way back in his content, he got videos reacting to my shit. Taurine Rain, we used to talk all the time. I fuck with Taurine Rain. Tony Yayo and Uncle Murda, I saw they have one. Cam and Mace, I saw they have one. Jadakiss. And here's another thing. You got Jadakiss, Jim Jones, Cam and Mace, and all these rappers. Notice, all these celebrities want to come into our space. You're already famous, Cameron. And I fuck with Cam. But Cameron and Mace, and y'all are already famous from the TV. You couldn't just have that and just you want to come to the internet space and take over the average Joes. This was supposed to be the Wild Wild West, and we talked about that before. The internet used to be the Wild Wild West, where you say how you truly feel because you're not bought out, and hey, you're just get it off your chest. Now you got these people coming into our space, Shannon Sharp, and I like Shannon Sharp's channel. But you got Shannon Sharps and these type of people coming into our space, having basically somewhat, and this isn't a shot at Shannon, it's just as general, they're really kind of having manufactured, like, general store brand conversation. Because if you have let's just call it a Shannon Sharp, let's just call it a whoever, and some of them do spit some real shit, but for the most part, they're going to cover conversations that they hear us talking about. Because here's the thing, on the internet, you know what's being talked about. But they're going to cover this thing, this current event, and barely scratch the surface. And then the people are going to be like, well, okay, we talked about it. No, you didn't go deep. You didn't really ask the questions that you really need to ask. And I'm still on your ass, Shannon Sharp, about letting that Caucasian woman talk to you like that. But let me read some more. Bryce says a lot of young black streamers got to do the minstrel thing to blow up. Exactly. So we don't fuck the conversation about the algorithm. You have to sell out to make 100 million. Let's just really talk about it. Yeah, Bryce, on the tablets, it's a lot of money. You gotta spend a whole lot of money for the stuff on the tablets. Let me read some more comments real quick. Okay, I'm way back in the okay, anyway. Not too many of y'all put who y'all listen to anymore. Yeah, that's the name. Kitana. What was your name? What is your regular username, Kitana Gidana? I don't think I've seen you, or I definitely don't know that profile name. But go look up the video from Bad Bunny. Yo, and I wish I could put it on the screen. Read the comments. Yo perreo sola. This is the name of the Bad Bunny video that I want y'all to go watch. You guys go watch it. And you're not even going to know it's him because that's how much he's in character. This man has a black wig on, breast implants, a red dress. And then there's another scene where he has some people in hoods sitting in the middle of a pyramid, a pentagram, and they got him chained up. The dude Bad Bunny, he's already sold out. They're not gonna push no. Think about it. When was the last time you seen somebody pushed in America that doesn't speak any English at all? Actually, I seen him on Saturday Night Live when I was in there, and he's starting to learn English, but the nigga's music is not English at all. Even those reggaeton, Daddy Yankee, and whoever else, they was at least speaking some English. Shakira, Selena, Latin artists have always at least been bilingual. Bad Bunny don't even try to make English music, but he's being shoved down our throats. He's always on Saturday Night Live. He's pushed on our face. He's at the Super Bowl, and I get it. He has a lot of Latin support, but when you see that video, Yo Pereo Sola, or whatever the name is, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Bad Bunny dressed like a... And this is another thing. We already talked about the gay agenda. And here's another thing. I have love for everybody. So if you're gay, I love you. If you're trans, I love you still. I might not agree with you. I might not... I wouldn't necessarily like if my child was gay or trans. That's just me. I have the right. I have the right not to want that. But I still love you. But the fact of the matter is, when I'm talking about that gay agenda and the black men wearing dresses, all the black men wearing dresses. Oh, we got to talk about this. Denzel Washington allegedly kissed a man for the Gladiator movie. Go look it up. Denzel Washington talked about how he kissed a man on the lips for the Gladiator movie, and they didn't even, they made him do it, they filmed it, but they didn't even put it in the movie. That's a whole other conversation for another day. So Denzel Washington, you made it to 70 years old, Denzel. 70. Think about this. Denzel was one of the last people that didn't really sell out. Some people say, oh, well, he got shot in his ass on Training Day when he won that Oscar, so that was a humiliation ritual. That's kind of a stretch, but maybe, I guess. But I didn't look at it that way. I love Training Day. But yeah, he did get shot in his ass, but that's kind of iffy. But other than that, Denzel never wore a dress. Denzel never played a gay role. Denzel never did none of that. And he was one of the last ones. Now think about it. And I hope Denzel lives to 150 years old. But if Denzel Washington dies tomorrow at 71 years old, now they can say, oh, well, he kissed a man in the movie. And do you see, he didn't kiss a man when he was prime Denzel at 25, 26, 27 years old, Mo Better Blues, Remember the Titans, Malcolm X. He never kissed a man when he was in his prime. Hollywood waited till Denzel was about to retire, possibly even pass away, and then they make him kiss a man. And here's the thing. You can't make nobody kiss a man. Denzel did that willingly. So I can't even blame Hollywood for this type of stuff. But let's get back to Bad Bunny. I always talk about the black people in dresses and all this type of stuff. And some people be like, well, is it just black people who do this humiliation rituals? No. Adam Sandler, name some white people who wore a dress and dressed like a woman. Adam Sandler, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, uh, uh, I think even what's the dude's name from Greece? John Travolta. I think he wore dressed like a woman. Robert De Niro dressed like a woman. But we're not really concerned with that. But Bad Bunny is another one. Latino artist. They don't discriminate. Somebody put that in the chat. The Illuminati doesn't really discriminate when it comes time to humiliation rituals. So yes, Bad Bunny did dress like a straight up woman with breasts. And yes, he's popular, but you don't just get popular. You don't get Super Bowl popular without doing too much. So it goes back to my original question. Is streaming dead? And if it is, and let me give a very definite answer for dead. Like, meaning, is it pointless to stream? Is streaming now what they call brain rot or uh, doom scrolling? Is it just like, oh, I'm going to put on this streamer, I'm going to put on this YouTuber, I'm going to put on this TikToker just to pass some time, and I'm tired, I'm just going to sit and passively watch them react to this music video or try their favorite food, try their favorite burger? Because you know the type of streams that we do. We try to break the matrix when we do streams. So my question is that portion dead? I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Let me read some comments. I didn't even really have that much to talk about. I got a lot to talk about, but I don't want to talk y'all's heads off. I mean, I could tell you some prison stories, but I made it. Let me read some comments. What do y'all got going on? None of y'all have no streamers that y'all watch? You said the Machiavelli dude. Hold on. Kendrick versus Drake is wild. Days of Noah. Never heard of Days of Noah. Donut Factory. Never heard of Donut Factory. YDR. Nick Jones. I'm going to look into those people. Are those good content creators? Katana Gitana. Days of Noah, Donut Factory, YDR, Nick Jones. Are these good streamers that, like, I'm talking about, like they're trying to break the matrix type stuff? Or is it just like, oh, I'm going to put this on just to have background noise? What up, Jay Reed? Jay Reed, how you going to say rap is dead and you rap? Jay Reed, go into that. Are you still here, Jay Reed? I'm reading old comments. Jay Reed, I know Jay Reed in real life. Shout out to Jay Reed. He says rap is dead, but you actively make rap music. So are you saying rap is dead and you're still just doing it just because? Or are you saying that you have a hope it could come back? Because if you truly believe that rap was dead, you wouldn't be rapping. So you have some type of hope for it, right? Or are you just like, you know what, it's dead, but whatever, I'm just going to do it anyway? Because that's how I'm feeling. Like, if streaming is dead, if YouTube is dead, if whatever this is that I'm doing right now is dead, and it's just put Blueface, go watch Blueface stream and fight with his 50 girlfriends and talk about nothing all day. That's what I mean by it. And shout out to Blueface. He got out of jail recently too. But if that's what streaming is, and that's what's popular, that's what makes all the money, that's what gets all the attention, that's what has 100 million subscribers, that means, in my opinion, streaming is dead. Because that means anybody can get on there and just talk about anything. They say they got some streamers. Bro, don't you know I got 7 people, and shout out to my 7. Shout out to the 7. I got 7 people in this stream right now. 8 right now. I got 8 people in this stream. Don't you know people like Kai Cenat or Blueface or whoever else? I don't want to keep calling them out, but I don't know too many of them. The most popular streamers literally can and sometimes do get eye show speed, get on stream and go to sleep. I've been told that some of these streamers can literally sleep. They do the 24-hour stream and sleep on stream and still be having 25,000 people watching. Does that seem crazy to you or what? You're telling me 25,000 people are sitting there watching this man sleep? Is he that? Is he that? And I'm not even hating. Is eye show speed that interesting that you'll watch him sleep? 25,000 people? Let's just keep it a buck, y'all. What would J-Lethal have to do, just hypothetically speaking? What am I going to have to do to get 25,000 eyes on me at one time? So now here's the question. Am I being shadow banned or do I just suck? Because, I mean, how many, you tell me what other, I feel like those are the only two options. Either I'm shadow banned or I just really suck. I have no personality. I have no interesting topics. I have no charisma. I have a monotone voice. I have nothing interesting about me, nothing interesting to say, not a unique perspective because I only have 10 people in the chat. But if iShow Speed goes live right now, he got 50,000. He can go to sleep, still have 17,000 people watching him sleep and snore. So of course, I'm going to ask myself, well, damn, what am I doing wrong? Or is the right thing just to do mindless content, make you laugh, talk about the same thing that everybody's talking about, invite Ice Spice to come talk to me, do a reaction video. You notice all these streamers, they always do this. They have a video that they're watching and they're like, chat. Somebody put that in the chat. Chat. Did y'all see that, chat? Oh my God. This is literally how these streamers be like. Tell me. They're watching a video. They're watching Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef. Chat. Oh no, chat. Oh no, chat. That, you got 50,000. Something's not right here. Y'all aren't bringing out receipts. Y'all, raise your hand if you remember how I bring out receipts, y'all. I bring out real receipts. By the way, the brick lady went to the same jail I was at. Shout out to the brick lady. The brick lady, I found out, went to the same jail I was at. Harris County Jail. Shout out to the brick lady. And they say the brick lady can't even get on social media for 10 more years. That's kind of crazy. Damn, brick lady. It was all good just a week ago. Somebody put that in the chat. It was all good just a week ago. Hit with the RICO, they repo your vehicle. Damn, it was all good just a week ago. You ready to start snitching, ain't you? Ready to start bitching, ain't you? I forgive your punk ass. Hustling just ain't you. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the brick lady. Damn. You in jail, getting commissary, probably getting your ass beat because they be fighting in Harris County. I don't wish it on nobody. But the fact of the matter is, it is what it is. Let me read some more comments. I'm about to get out of here. I just wanted to come talk to you guys real quick. Let me see. I got to get my thumbnails right. Okay, fair enough, Bryce. I got to get my thumbnails right. Okay, that might help me. Solo Dolo says I'm too radical. I'm never going to make it on the big stage because I'm too radical. And I agree. Solo Dolo says Bad Bunny is basically the Mexican Lil Nas X. Exactly. Uh, Bryce says I can make another channel. I guess I can, but I already have two channels. They were both shadow banned. So here's the thing, Bryce. Okay, maybe I'll make another channel. And let's just say, hypothetically speaking, I make another channel and that channel isn't shadow banned. Even though I think YouTube already knows who I am. So even if I make a new channel, they're still going to shadow ban me. But let's just say I make a new channel. Hypothetically speaking, I'm not shadow banned. What am I going to talk about to where I stay not shadow banned? That means I have to sell my soul, in other words. I have to not talk about what I want to talk about. I have to not talk about what I feel is important. I have to not talk about the things that I'm passionate about, because the things that I feel important, the things that I want to talk about, the things that I think I'm passionate about, they're considered too controversial and radical. So even if I start a new channel, that just means I'm starting from scratch, and I have to just, what do I got to do? Some fucking Sambo dance? Oh, hey y'all, my name is J-LEETHAL. Today we're going to talk about Glorilla's sister. Did y'all see Glorilla's sister? See, this is another thing. Is streaming dead? Going back to that. Glorilla's sister. Somebody put Glorilla's sister. And if y'all don't know who this is, then good. I'm glad you don't know. But Glorilla's sister, there's a rapper called Glorilla. We talked about her before I got locked up. She's the one that made that song, I'm F-R-E-E, fuck nigga free, and I don't gotta worry about a nigga cheating on me, whatever the case, right? She got famous, and now she's one of the biggest female rap celebrities. She has a sister who looks just like her, or at least she looks like her original face before she got surgery, but that's another point. This girl got famous from getting on streaming, just like I'm streaming with you, and talking to TikTok or whoever else, Instagram, and talking about my sister. My sister's rich and she didn't give me no money. I want some money. And I grew up with this bitch and I'm her sister and she didn't give me $2,500 and this and that and the third. And I'm just like, all right. First of all, keep your family business private, or even if you say how you feel, like, don't do it like that. Like, you just looking weak. So now Glorilla's sister, in a matter of what? I've only been out 3 weeks. And I feel like this girl only just started going live like last week. She's already at almost 200,000 followers on Instagram. When I first went on her page, because this is something that I like to do, when I see somebody who's getting a little clout or something, I go look at their page right when they popping off. They be at 5, 10,000. In 2-3 days, a week later, they'd be at 100. So when I went to Glorilla's sister's page, she was at 8,000 followers on Instagram. That's just Instagram. I'm not talking about whatever else she's on, because I don't really have those others. On Instagram, she had 8,000 followers when I seen her. This was like 2-3 days after she went live. 8,000 subscribers. She went live talking about her sister, talking shit, dragging her sister. Now she's at over 100,000 subscribers in 3, 4, 5, 6 days. So going back to you, I'm asking you guys, how would you feel if you put your blood, sweat, and tears into something and you were vulnerable and told everything how you really feel, and you were on the run from the police and you were trying to wake people up, and then you have 10 people in the chat. But then you look at Glorilla's sister talk about, bitch, whatever the fuck she said, and she has over 100,000 subscribers in 5 days. Now people are paying her to come out to their club and come, and I'm not hating on her, but I'm just like, that's how this works. You can get famous and rich and whatever else just off of nothing. So I start asking myself, damn, should I change up? But guess what? Here's the thing. If I change up and just do some basic stuff and talk about everything that everybody wants me to talk about and just be mild, tell me how that's not selling my soul. That is the definition of selling your soul. That is the definition of selling your soul. By the way, has anybody ever seen that? Raise your hand if you ever seen that movie called Him with Marlon Wayans. I seen that like last week or the week before. I watched that on what's that on Netflix? Peacock or something. Go watch that movie Him with Marlon Wayans. It's a good movie. A lot of people, it seemed like a lot of people were shitting on the movie, but I like the movie. Really good movie. And I don't want to ruin the whole movie for you, but I will. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. There's one part at the end of that movie called Him. Basically, it's about a football player who's up and coming, and he goes to some distant resort to go train with the NFL, and he trains with an NFL player that's played by Marlon Wayans. I don't want to give too much in it because it's a really good movie, in my opinion. But at the end, I'm going to just break this part. At the end, he goes to sign a contract with the Illuminati. And they put him through all type of humiliation rituals and all type of shit. And finally, when he does what they want him to do, they want him to sign a contract. And he doesn't want to sign the contract. And they tell him straight up, go watch the movie. They tell him straight up, if you don't sign this contract, we're going to kill your family. Now, mind you, this is just a movie and maybe it's just, but a lot of people believe that movies tell you the truth. So y'all can do with that what you will, but I found that very interesting. I heard YouTube controls content creators' behavior. Of course they do, Solo. Machiavelli Mills, Desi content. Desi Banks is being funded by the Israeli government. Jay, tell me more. How is the black content creator Desi Banks, the comedian, how is he funded by the Israeli government? Tell me more. I've been gone, so I don't know none of this stuff. Bryce says Hidden America is a good channel that decodes internet culture and its effects on society. I'll look that up, definitely. Bryce says he's going to email me a list of channels that you watch. By the way, if you want to email me, please email me. Bryce, I think you have my actual personal email address. But if y'all want to email me any content that you want me to react to, anything that you want me to study, anything that you want to say to me, any letter, anything that you don't want to put here, any video, any link, message me. Can somebody put this in the chat? My email. The email I set up was messagelethal777@gmail.com. Message MESSAGE lethal LEETHL 777@gmail.com. Message lethal777@gmail.com if you want to email me. But yeah, please email me a list of the channels that you watch. Just because I do YouTube, I'll be watching YouTube just like you guys watch YouTube. Before I was on YouTube myself, that's what made me want to get on YouTube, is I was always watching it and I was leaving comments like you guys are. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of leaving comments. I'm going to say what I want to say on this thing. And I picked up my phone and I did it. That's the only reason why I'm a streamer right now. Jay says, Denzel never said he actually kissed him, but they acted up the moment. I don't know, Jay. You might have heard a different one than me. I listened to it the other night. Denzel, there's one particular video with Denzel sitting there with the white woman. Well, he's not sitting with her. He's on like a Zoom call with the white woman, and she has a rainbow believe it or not, she has a rainbow in the background. And I don't know if that's the same one you saw, Jay, but the video I saw, Denzel sitting there, and on the other screen is a white woman with the rainbow in the background. She asked him about that, and he says, "I kissed a man on Gladiator. I kissed him on the lips, but they didn't put it in the movie. I guess they were too scared. I guess they weren't ready for that." Yeah, he said that. He said that for sure. And believe me, I love Denzel. I didn't want it to be true. Somebody told me that in jail. Somebody that was out in the world when I was locked up and they came and got locked up. They were like, "Yeah, Denzel kissed a man." And he talked about it. He kissed a man in the new Gladiator movie. I said, "Damn. They got Denzel too?" I guess it's not surprising. See, this is what you got to understand. And I think somebody else said that. Who was this? Was that Dave Chappelle or Cat Williams? One of them said, "You don't get to leave Hollywood unscathed." And that's a perfect example. You remember John Witherspoon, who played Pops on Friday? "Every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen." He's a perfect example of somebody who left Hollywood and he died and he never did nothing that was demeaning to our people. He never wore a dress. He never, that I know about. He never, unless you guys seen it, he never wore a dress. He never wore makeup. He never did none crazy stuff. And he died. And if you remember, I don't know if y'all remember, but when Pops died, John Witherspoon, everybody was messed up about it. Everybody was really messed up about it. And another one, Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac was another one, myself included, really messed up when they died. They never did anything, no dress, no makeup, none of that. So some of them do die before Hollywood recognizes how powerful or impactful or loved they are to our community. Bernie Mac, John Witherspoon, those are two people who died, and you can't say nothing about them, and black people still love them to this day. Who was it? Quincy Jones? Quincy Jones came out at like 80 years old and said he's gay before he died. Who's the dude with the slick hair? Who's that dude? What's this dude's name? The old black man that all the women used to love back in the day, the slick hair. He played Lando. He played in Star Wars. You know who I'm talking about. The old black Billy D. Williams. Go look it up. Before Billy D. Williams died, I think he died. Either way, he was 80. If he's still alive, he's 90 years old. Billy D. Williams waited till he was 80 years old. He come out talk about, "I'm pansexual." What? Where is this coming from? You 80 years old now, all of a sudden you got a confession to make? It's just interesting to me. That's all I'm saying. Let me read some more comments. I'm about to get out of here, y'all. I didn't want to take too much of your time. Bryce says the difference between us and them wearing dresses in movies is the fact that they're not being systematically and strategically targeted to be emasculated on a mass level. I wish I could put that comment on the screen. Very, very good comment, Bryce. The difference between black Americans and other cultures wearing dresses and stuff like that is they can afford to wear a dress. And furthermore, people like Jim Carrey, people of that persuasion, that's kind of their culture anyway. That's another thing, Bryce. When it comes to Robert De Niro, whoever else wearing a dress, that's their culture anyway. Adam Sandler, that's traditionally their culture. Black Americans have never had the culture of men being women. That's never been our thing, and that's why they try to come so hard on us. Pause. They try to come so hard at us and try to tell us, you have people like Gabrielle Union coming out trying to shame us. Do y'all remember when go look up Gabrielle Union talks about trans kids on BET Awards. Gabrielle Union came out and was trying to literally shame the entire black community and talk down to us like, y'all need to accept trans kids. Here's the funny thing. Go to Saudi Arabia with that. Go to China with that. Go to Russia with that. Notice you don't ever have a Russian celebrity coming out telling the whole Russia that they need to accept trans kids. You don't ever have a Chinese person coming out telling the whole Chinese community that they need to accept trans kids. You don't ever have even Africans. Do you know that Barack Obama tried to go to Africa, to Kenya, where his family's from? By the way, Barack Obama's not a black American. When Barack Obama went to China, to Kenya, where his family's from, and he tried to push the gay conversation over there, they told him respectfully, Barack, get your bitch ass up out of here. We don't do that over here. So yeah, go to Saudi Arabia, Gabrielle Union, and tell those Pakistanis or whatever the hell, tell DJ Khaled's family and them that they need to accept trans kids. Let's see how that goes for you. But see, since black people, they feel like we don't have a solid foundation and we don't have any unity and we're too scared to actually have a backbone, you can have people like Gabrielle Union who's talking about a kid who's not even hers, trying to talk down to us and lecture us about how we need to accept trans kids. But it's exactly like you said. The difference between black Americans and every other culture that wears a dress. And I was watching Shanae. Go watch Shanae. Somebody put that in the chat. Damn. Hold on. Go watch Shanae. I seen a clip of Shanae recently. I'm like, damn, that shit was crazy. And the craziest part about it is, see, this is what people will tell you. By the way, it's Freestyle Friday. That's why I'm just kind of going off the dome. And thank you to everybody who's watching, by the way. It's been a minute, you know. The thing about Shanae is this. When I was watching Martin, raise your hand if you thought that shit was funny back in the day. Let's just keep it a buck. Solo dolo. Solo, I feel like you're around my age, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger. Solo, let's keep it a buck. We used to laugh at Martin back in the day. Shanae. We used to laugh at Big Mama's House. Let's keep it a buck. We used to laugh at Eddie Murphy in The Nutty Professor. Let's keep it a buck. I know I did. And you know why people will say, well, you know, you wasn't talking about this agenda, so-called agenda, when Martin Lawrence was Shanae. Here's the thing. When Martin Lawrence was Shanae in 1995, we did not have the consciousness to understand the systematic effects of this. We didn't understand the systematic enforcement of the ideologies of white supremacy. Let's just keep it a buck. In 1995, that wasn't a conversation in our culture. We had not yet put the pieces together. I'm sure there were one or two fringe people that understood. But as a culture, we had not yet put the pieces together and stood back and said, you know what? They're trying to emasculate us. And we can't stand for this. We can't afford to stand for this. So when Eddie Murphy, go ahead and put all the names of the people who was dressing like a woman, Martin Lawrence, I talked about it before, Martin Lawrence, Nick Cannon, Kenan Thompson, Marlon Wayans, Eddie Murphy, Will Smith, what's the dude's name? What's Nino Brown's name? Wesley Snipes. What's Melvin's name from Baby Boy? What's dude's name? Holiday Heart. Hold on. What's Holiday Heart's name? What's the dude's name? Pulp Fiction. Somebody put that in the chat. Ving Rhames. Right? Ving Rhames. You got 11 people that did this. When all of them were doing that back in the day, we didn't have the thought. We had not yet put the pieces together to recognize the pattern that Hollywood was trying to play on us. So now that we've come to the conclusion and we've put all these pieces together and we said we can't stand for this, we see what you're trying to do. Now it's a problem. But it's just like Bryce said, and I'm going to read that comment again before I get out of here. The difference between these other cultures and Black Americans being dressed as a woman and stuff like that is those other cultures, the men, they're not being systematically and strategically targeted to be emasculated on a mass level. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. Of course, yeah, you might have a Chinese man dressed up as a woman in one of these movies, but the Chinese community is not being strategically targeted to be emasculated on a mass level, nor are the Chinese people going to allow. Somebody put that in the chat. The Chinese people are not going to allow themselves to be strategically emasculated on a mass level. Don't you know in Russia, in one of these countries, they don't even let the women wear short shorts. Like you'll go to jail if a man is wearing a dress type shit. You'll go to jail and you can't say nothing about it. I don't give a damn how much you get on TikTok and scream about it. You can't go to Saudi Arabia doing that stuff. But here, everything is, here's the funny thing about America. When I say we, I just mean Americans. Americans act like we have it all figured out, like we're the most smartest. First of all, we're behind in education. We're the most obese. We have the most incarcerated, the most homeless, the most depression, the most divorces, the most suicides. But that's another story. The thing about America is, isn't it funny how we act like we know everything and we could tell everybody how to do everything, but we're one of the youngest countries out of all of them? America just turned 250 years old. That's a baby compared to China. So who are we to say, well, we just know what we're talking about? If we knew what we were talking about, we wouldn't have so much homelessness, wouldn't have so much incarceration, we would have better education, we would have not as much suicides, not as much divorces, not as much obesity, not as much people addicted to drugs, not as much people on prescription drugs, not as much cancer. But that's a whole nother story. Let me read some more comments before I get out of here. Bryce says Lucas has gone full Black American. Oh my God, Bryce, tell me about it. You're joking, right? I haven't caught up with him. Somebody said the amazing Lucas has gone full anti-Black American. No, he didn't flip-flop flippy because he already flip-flopped, right? And shout out to Lucas. You know, I know you're in real life, bro. I know you're in real life, Lucas. Somebody said the amazing Lucas is now anti-Black American. Can't be, because he was already a Trump supporter. Then he flip-flopped to being a Black American, so-called, speaking for us. And now he's back on the other side again? I don't know what the hell's going on. Tell me about it. Bryce says, I'm not playing the game to the fullest. I agree. Mudlark, shout out to Mudlark. Mudlark, you're out there in the UK, right? If I'm not mistaken, or no? Maybe you're not. Maybe where you live at, Mudlark. I feel like you were in the UK, but anyway, shout out to Mudlark. Mudlark says, I think a lot of these so-called streamers are fake and content creators pay for subscribers and views. Yes, that's a fact. It's 100% fact. And I know some people, I'm not going to throw them out there, but I know some people that told me that they're paying for views and they're paying for subscribers. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Keep on commenting. I'm about to be out of here in about 5-10 minutes, but just give me one more. I'm going to get something from the kitchen real quick. Let me read some comments before I get out of here. Thank y'all for sticking around. I really missed y'all. I really did. Bryce says, I don't necessarily have to do mindless content or fake content, but you have to feed the algorithm. I agree, but let me ask you this, Bryce. Let me just ask you one more time, and you tell me simple yes or no. If I feed the algorithm and I have a really good thumbnail and I talk about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, do you really believe that J-Lethal's going to get 100,000 views on any of my videos? Let's just, and if the answer is yes, are you telling me that I could get 100,000 views and feed the algorithm by talking about what's popular and a good thumbnail, but I still say what I want to say? Or are you saying that I have to have a good thumbnail, talk about what they want me to talk about it, and have the same take that mainstream wants me to have? Because that's a different conversation. I can change my thumbnail. I can talk about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. But if I have to change how and what I say, I don't know if I could do that. I just don't know. I just don't know. Thank you, Bryce. You said I had good editing skills. I haven't edited any videos in a while, but I'm pretty sure I could still do that. Bryce said my main email is the joshlee2388@gmail.com. But if you guys want to email me just anything for the channel, message lethal777@gmail.com. I still haven't seen Sinners. Bryce, I was watching Sinners. I got like 15 minutes into it, and then my streaming service got messed up, and I wasn't able to watch it again. I had like some type of bootleg streaming service where I could watch all the movies, and it was really good content, like 100% official content. But then the subscription got messed up, and I wasn't able to watch it. I got like literally 15 minutes into Sinners. I still want to see it. I got to the part where they bought the juke joint. Him and his brother bought the juke joint, and he was trying to go. He went to go get that old dude that plays the harmonica to come play at the juke joint with him. He had the other dude, the young dude with the guitar, to come. They were just about to open up the juke joint, so it was still brand new. They just introduced the white. Don't tell me anything about Sinners. I purposely, anytime anybody tried to talk about Sinners, I've turned it off. I do not want to hear any spoiler alerts. I want to just go in completely not knowing anything about Sinners. The only thing I know about Sinners is that it's supposedly a good movie, and it's allegedly some vampire shit going on. But that's the only thing I know about Sinners. I do not want anybody to fucking fuck that up for me. I still have to watch Sinners. But Bryce, yes, please go watch that movie Him with Marlon Wayans. That was also a good one. If you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, they had some shit in that one. Katana says, for the big stage, you have to conform to the debauchery. By the way, Katana, what was your name? Are you new to this channel? Like, were you here before I went to jail? And if you were commenting, what was your name before? Because right now they're not showing me y'all's names. They're just showing me your email or something. A lot of good things to say, Katana. And if you are new, thank you. Please press the like button and stick around, because I do plan on at least going live a little bit more. As you guys got to understand, I just got out of prison after 2 years, and I'm trying to reevaluate everything. And I don't want to, like I said, I don't even know if YouTube is dead. I don't even know if streaming is dead. So I don't be on here just talking into the void. I don't like wasting my energy or wasting my voice. So as long as y'all still rocking with me, I'm going to rock with y'all. But if y'all not rocking with me no more, and you guys have a new streamer that you guys like to watch, then I'm going to just retire. Should I retire? That's the question. Here's another question before I get out of here. Should J-Lethal retire because streaming is dead and Kai Cenat, you'd rather go watch Kai Cenat sleeping on stream or flirting with Ice Spice. Or maybe another streamer is better than me. I don't know. I'm gonna listen to some of those streamers that you guys told me to listen to. Katana says, for the big stage, you have to conform to the debauchery. Popular streamers are sponsored and have bots boosting views. However, there are YouTubers building their own little communities, seemingly organic. I agree. You know who's another? I like this dude named Black Balloons. Go watch him. He talks about like Illuminati type shit. Black Balloons, he's good. I like him a lot. Who else do I listen to? I'm gonna have to come back to y'all. I'm gonna have to write a list down of some of the people I like on YouTube. But Black Balloons, I like him. He talks about some Illuminati stuff. I don't know. I don't know right off the top of my head. Jay says, I don't know much, but I heard about it and I was interested in me because why would Mossad want to use Desi to promote their propaganda? If you learn more about that, Jay, tell me. Eddie Griffin's a good comedian. I fuck with Eddie. Oh, did Eddie Griffin dress like a woman? Solo, are you saying Eddie Griffin dressed like a woman, or are you saying he's one of the only ones that hasn't? Because I feel like I don't think Eddie Griffin ever dressed like a woman. I actually fuck with Eddie Griffin. I went to go see him one time, and he was talking about the Illuminati. I saw Eddie Griffin like, and that was probably like 12 years ago. When he came to Houston and he did a show, I went by myself to go see Eddie Griffin, and that nigga was talking about some shit. That was Eddie Griffin who said that no black man gets to leave Hollywood clean. Yes, it was. It was, sure was. James Earl Jones. That's a good one. Shout out to James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones never wore a dress. He never acted like a woman. So we have James Earl Jones. We have John Witherspoon. We have Bernie Mac. Do you know any other black men that made it out of Hollywood and passed away with their reputation and their manhood still intact? Never made a mockery of black people. Never dressed like a woman. Never wore makeup. Never wore a dress. Debo made it out. Solo Dolo, that's a good one. I think if you go look up Debo, which his name is what is Debo's name? Something Liston, Zeus. I think his name was Zeus or something. I forget what Debo's real name is, but go look up Debo talking about wearing a dress. He was going in. He said, I'm not going to wear no motherfucking dress. Bryce says he's still salty. They tried to shit on Paul Mooney right before he died. I forgot about that. Billy D. Williams is still alive? Go look up Billy D. Williams says he's pansexual or whatever type of sexual he said. He didn't say heterosexual. Billy D. Williams came out talking about, I like to try everything. Nigga, you're 85 years old. Your dick don't even work anymore. Why are you even talking about this? But remember, Billy D. Williams, my mom used to like Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams was a huge sex symbol in the black community. Completely suave black man. And, you know, he was the epitome of black masculinity, allegedly. Until he gets 80 years old. Now he's talking about he's pansexual. I just find this all really, and again, this isn't an attack on any community. It's just a pattern that I'm recognizing. And again, the reason why we didn't call this out when Martin was dressing like Shanae is because we didn't understand yet. It took us coming to a certain point where we had to put the pattern together that we said, oh, I understand now. I understand why, yes, Sherman Hemsley, Bryce. Did you ever see Moving On Up, George Jefferson? Somebody go look up George Jefferson dressed like a woman, acting like a woman. Who had him acting like a woman? That so-called Jewish man Howard Stern. Go look up Howard Stern and Sherman Hemsley, which is George Jefferson. Go look that up and just vomit in your motherfucking mouth. Joanna Man. Somebody put that in the chat. Joanna Man. Do we have to keep going? Joanna Man. Do we have to keep going? Bryce says, we didn't start gaining a collective enlightenment until social media came around. And you know why that is, Bryce? The reason why we came to a certain type of enlightenment when social media came around is because real people were able to connect with each other from around the globe. Up until social media, the only people that you knew were the people in your immediate area. And we all know, usually the people around us are asleep. This is why they have that so-called 5% ideology. Raise your hand if you ever heard about the 5%ers. The so-called 5% ideology dictates that 85% of the population is deaf, dumb, and blind. 10% of the population controls everything, and they're misleading us. And the remaining 5% of the population is aware of what's going on, and they're trying to wake everybody else up. So this is why, if you're just talking about your neighborhood or your, wherever you live, you're probably not going to find people like you and me that's in this chat right now. That's why you got Solo Dolo living over there, wherever he lives. You got, what up, Raheem? You got Raheem living wherever he lives. You got Jay living wherever he lives. Bryce wherever he lives. You got, who else is in the chat? You got these different people living wherever they live. And we all come together on social media based on a common understanding. But you notice all of you guys don't live in Houston next to me. If I could only do a stream of people in my 20-mile radius, I wouldn't even have anybody in this chat right now. Because everybody would be talking about Love and Hip Hop and Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. Please, let me ask you this. Stop talking about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. It's done. It's dead. It is what it is. I understand there's a greater conversation to be had about Hispanics and Black Americans and this and that and white people and this and that. The conversation's dead. Let's move on to another topic. Read some more comments before I get out of here, man. Yeah, anyway. So we're right at 2 hours. I didn't want to take too much of your time. I just wanted to come and chat with you. This was really a Freestyle Friday, but the overall conversation is YouTube, is streaming dead? And if it isn't, what should be my move going forward? I guess, like somebody said earlier, I should get on TikTok. I should get on Twitch. I am going to try that out because before I give up on anything, I'm going to at least try to expand my platform. I've been very loyal to YouTube, but the way I see it now, I might as well and what most people have told me is I need to expand my reach. And the best way to expand it, and a lot of people, and then here's another thing. A lot of people are on TikTok. I used to think TikTok was just for silly, goofy shit. But from what I'm told, there's real people having real conversations on TikTok, and it's not a shadow ban. So who knows? Maybe I could even put some of my old stuff on TikTok, my old clips before I even got locked up on TikTok. I guarantee you this, if I was on TikTok having this conversation right now, I would probably at least have 50, 75, maybe 150 viewers. I guarantee you that. And think about it. With 150, 200, 500, 1,000 viewers, think about how much real conversation and how much we can be building with each other. Now, I agree. When you look at some of these bigger streamers, like I said, Kai Cenat, DJ Academics, iShow Speed, when you look at some of them, they have so many subscribers that you can't even read their chat. It's just going. Have you ever seen some of these super big streamers that it's just going so fast that you can't even read their chat? I don't like that personally. I think that's one of the downsides of being really popular or famous online. If you're gonna do a live stream, I want to be able to read what you guys are saying and ask you questions and have conversations and have a community with you and know you by your name and be able to remember you. That's what I like about having a smaller community like we have right now. Like Jay's been following me since before I got locked up. I can tell him something right now, and hey Jay, remember that? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Of course, da 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 da. I can tell Bryce, hey, remember this? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But see, these bigger channels, they don't even read their comments. They can't read their comments. And so they can't respond to you. So that's what I like about having this smaller community. If there is a silver lining, is that I know you guys on a first name basis. But anyway, y'all, I'm at 2 hours. Unless you guys have anything else to say, let me ask you guys real quick. What's been up with you guys? Is there anything new? Anything I should look into? How do you feel? Is streaming dead? Should I stop? Should I change up how I was doing it before I went in? Should I just go with my heart? Would you guys stick around? Talk to me in the chat before I get out of here. Because I feel like the way I'm looking at social media right now, I feel like everybody got a phone, everybody got a studio, everybody got a podcast. You got millionaires making a podcast. And they're not even necessarily telling you how to make millions. They're just trying to jump into our space. Why are these millionaires trying to jump into our space? I believe it's because they're greedy, first of all. They want attention, but also underlying, these people want to have the conversation that the internet is having, but they want to have a surface level conversation about it. They want to say, oh yeah, we talked about this. We talked about Black Americans versus everybody else, but we just barely talked about it. Whereas somebody who's the average Joe who really feels this and is not bought out, they're going to have the conversation, the real conversation that the people are going to have. They're going to read the comments. Notice these big platforms, these big podcasters, they don't ever read the comments. They don't ever say, oh yeah, you know what? Let me read some comments real quick. Let me see who's commenting. Oh, Bryce says he emailed me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they don't even know you by name. Bryce, thank you for emailing me with some channels to check out. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, I guess y'all don't really got too much more to say. I just came here to talk to y'all real quick and chop it up with y'all. I haven't been live in a long time because, like I said, I was locked up. And not only that, I only went live when I first got out, mainly because I'm trying to get my mind right. I'm trying to continue my physical rebuild, my mental health. I still got people who watch me and plotting on my downfall, and I love you. If you're watching me right now and you're plotting on my downfall, or you're trying to spy on me, or you're trying to figure out what's going on with me so you can somehow manipulate what I got going on, I love you still. And here's another thing I'm gonna tell you, like I told you in the beginning, nobody can stop what God has in store. And here's another thing. Nothing you or I can do can stop what God already has in motion. And nothing you or I can do can stop or can surprise the Most High God. We cannot surprise the Most High God. Everything that happens, whether we consider it good or bad, is for God's ultimate glory at the end of the day. So I don't know when the next time I'm going to see you. I might come talk to you tomorrow. It might be another month. Raise your hand if you're going to stick with me and allow me time to figure out what I want to do, because I want to talk to you guys, but I have to get financially right. If you want to cash at me, you can. $ LEETHALMAN1 on Cash App, but I got to get my mind right. I gotta get, shit, I got felonies now. I don't know if niggas gonna want to hire me now. I gotta get my transportation right. I gotta get my money right. I gotta make sure my living situation is right. So forgive me if I'm not able to go live every Monday and have the whole background and all the receipts. I missed out on a lot of receipts, y'all. I gotta play catch up. I gotta try to patch up some stuff and figure out what happened in the last 2 years. It's a bunch of stuff on social media. And then there's a bunch of stuff that I just don't want to talk about. I don't care what Glorilla's sister said. I don't care about Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. I don't care what Trump is doing. That's another thing. We talk about Donald Trump. I already talked about Donald Trump in 2015, 2014. I was talking about Donald Trump. What else can I say about Donald Trump? He showed Donald. If you were tricked and are somehow surprised by how Donald Trump is acting today, you haven't been paying attention, or you've been ignorant, willfully or otherwise ignorant. Donald Trump is showing you who he's always been. He said he'll grab you by the pussy. He said the black players who kneeled in the NFL for the Star Spangled Banner, they're sons of bitches. Donald Trump has been Donald Trump. I don't understand why everybody's so riled up about stupid shit. So again, I don't even want to talk about certain stuff, man. I want to have conversations that's going to give glory to God. I want to talk about conversations that's going to help us be healthy, help us have understanding, help us live longer, help us be peaceful, help us have enlightenment, help us to avoid the traps of the devil. So if we're not doing that, there's no point. Anyway, I love you guys. Holla at your boy. 7 in the chat. Thumbs up this video. Until the next time I see you, I love you. Please vibrate higher.